talks set to resume in Doha. Are we any closer, do you think, to a breakthrough? What exactly are we expecting today?
Well, I think we're still going to have to wait and see if there's a breakthrough later today. But the good news is that all the parties stayed for essentially a second day of talks. The Israeli delegation is there. Obviously, the Qataris and the Egyptians are there, and the U.S. team is there, led by CIA Chief Bill Burns. So I think that is already a good sign that maybe some of these bridging proposals that have been put on the table by the U.S. and mediators, and some of the what people call creative solutions, are perhaps being accepted by Israel. Remember, Hamas is not at the table, but their senior leaders live in Doha, and it is, it's taken as a given that at the end of these talks, that whatever has been agreed upon will be passed by Hamas. And in any case, the person who makes the final decision is Yahya Sinwar, Hamas's leader, who's in Gaza, hiding presumably under one of the tunnels under Khan Yunis, and everything will have to go through him and to get his approval. So, we're going to have to wait and see. There's, again, so many issues that have to be actually closed. There's a security issue. Who's going to be in charge of the security along the Egyptian-Gazan border? Is one of the main sticking points. The Israeli Prime Minister wants some kind of Israeli army presence there. Egypt doesn't want that. Obviously, Hamas does not want that. But there has to be some way to ensure that all of the tunnels are sealed and there's no longer a gateway along that border for arms and supplies and militants and vehicles. Remember, one of the tunnels they found was about 3 stories high and wide, where a car could drive through. So that border has to be secured. And then there's other issues about returning residents who want to return to northern Gaza. Will there be any kind of security checks there? Also issues of the identity of the Palestinian prisoners that Israel will release in exchange for the hostages. So there are a lot of details that have to be worked out. But I think what the United States and the mediators are aiming for is a breakthrough where at least the general outline of the agreement can be agreed to by all sides, and then they can move forward with some of the back and forth on the details of the other issues.
And Jordana, meanwhile, the Prime Minister of Qatar reportedly has been speaking with Iranian leaders following those talks on Thursday, urging them to hold back on retaliating against Israel. What influence does Doha have here?
Well, I think Doha has considerable influence, not only with the Iranians, but also with Hamas. Remember, again, the leadership outside of Gaza lives in Doha. And there was a moment in this war when the United States and others were pressuring Qatar to kick out Hamas's leadership if they weren't willing to sit down at the table and negotiate and try to end this war. So Doha has a lot of influence, and it appears that the talks have at least tabled the reprisal strikes from Hezbollah and Iran after Israel is believed to have killed not only Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran a little more than 2 weeks ago, but they did claim the assassination of a top Hezbollah leader just hours before. So there's so much at stake here with these Gaza ceasefire talks. It's no longer about just ending the bloodshed and the suffering in Gaza and bringing the hostages out and creating an alternative to who's going to run the Gaza Strip and rebuilding the Gaza Strip. It's also now about averting a larger regional war, and it's seen as something that can really allow Hezbollah to, really moderate their response, because Hezbollah has always said that they would stop firing on northern Israel if there was a Gaza ceasefire. And though they've been firing since October 8th, they have not been interested in a larger war, and they've considered all of their attacks on Israel as a kind of solidarity with the people of Gaza.
ABC News correspondent Jordana Miller, thank you so much for that analysis.